Okay, welcome everyone. Good afternoon. During the declared emergency, Committee of Adjustment virtual public hearings are being conducted by electronic means through WebEx, an online digital platform, and streamed on the Toronto City Planning YouTube channel. These measures are necessary to comply with physical distancing requirements and in-person attendance limitations. This will be a virtual public hearing, and participants who have registered in advance will be able to make their presentations to the committee using WebEx, an online event that is being moderated by city staff. Anyone wishing to view the hearing may do so by watching on YouTube. Participants who have registered in advance will be connecting either by their computer, a phone or tablet app, or by telephone. All participants will automatically be muted on entry. When your item is called, each participant will be unmuted by the moderator, one person at a time. Only the committee members will be participating by video. Panel members participating today are Sophia Ruddick, Laura Alderson, Stan Kumorik, and Neil Palmer, and I am Michael Clark, and I'm the panel chair. Any registered participants will be participating by audio only, and we ask that you mute your devices until you're called on to speak. Land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that the land we're meeting on is traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. In accordance with Sections 45 and 53 of the Planning Act 1990 as amended, this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment of the City of Toronto is now called to order. The Committee of Adjustment considers applications for variances from the provisions of the zoning bylaw that apply to the property, permissions to extend or alter lawful non-conforming uses, and consents to sever properties to create new lots. Anyone in attendance today who wants to receive a copy of the decision of the committee on a particular application must submit a written request for a decision by email. Please ensure that you include your name, address, and email address, because the Committee of Adjustment and the TLAB, in the event of an appeal, will be sending notifications and appeal updates by email. If you do not agree with the decision of the committee rendered here today, decisions may be appealed to the Toronto Local Appeal Body, TLAB, or in some limited circumstances to the Local Planning Appeal Tribunal, LPAT. Appeal instructions are set out at the bottom of the decision of the committee. The hearing procedure will be as follows. I'll call each item in the order listed in the agenda. There are actually three deferral requests or items that have to be deferred, so we'll deal with those at the outset to clear those items off the agenda and clear the phone lines. When an application is uncontested, the agent or applicant may make a presentation to the committee and proceed with the presentation if desired. Where the committee does not require a presentation, applicants are to advise the chair should they wish to address the committee. The committee may ask questions and or take the matter into committee for a decision. Each speaker, including the applicant or agent, is given a maximum of 5 minutes to address the committee, and I will comment when you're reaching the 5-minute mark and ask you to wrap up. When addressing the committee, please clearly state your name and address to start off, and please remember to confine your remarks to the matters outlined in the application. The applicant or agent will proceed first to make a presentation to the committee of their application. Please note that the committee may not entertain revisions to proposals at the hearing today. The committee may decide to defer the application if being substantially revised to ensure the revised application is accurate and that all those entitled to notice of the application have been informed of the changes. Then individuals either in support or opposed to the application will be invited to speak. Committee members may ask questions of each speaker at the end of their presentations, and when all speakers are finished, the applicant or agent is given an opportunity to rebut only those issues and answer those questions that have been raised by the speakers, not to introduce new evidence or information at that time. That will then mark the end of the discussion. The applicant will then be taken into committee for a decision. Staff and panel members, are there any declarations of interest to declare on the matters before us at the afternoon agenda? Okay, none to declare. In that case, we can proceed. I guess we'll start off, I guess, with item number 18 from the morning session. We had, is the applicant back with the answers he went away to find out?
Yes, I have all the answers you guys need.
Celli. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Okay, what do you have to report to us? Yep, loud and clear.
Okay, so the items that were were in question here were items 1, 3, and 4. Item number 1 has changed to 331.26 square meters and space index no greater than 0.46.
So from 0.54 to 0.56, and the square meters is 3.46.6 to, let's say that again,
331.26 square meters.
Okay, that's variance 1.
I don't believe that's the right document projected.
Sorry, what was the floor space index for number 1?
It was
Floor space
0.54.
index, the previous.
It was 0.54, and he's
new
now
one.
increasing it to 0.56. But how can
No,
the
you
amendment, but
can't
the
be.
number is, but your number can't go down from 346.6. You can't be 331. Then it's less, then we'd have a notification issue.
So
Fabio.
we have, so what? Yes, sir.
If it's any less than 0.54, you said 0.56, that's fine because it's more.
No,
Sorry,
no.
no, it's
there
less.
were-
Sorry, my mistake. It's got to be less. So
0.46.
331 is fine,
0.46.
but it can't be 0.56 because that's higher than 0.54.
It's 0.46.
46.
0.46.
Oh, 46. I thought you said
Yes.
56. Okay.
No. Sorry, my mistake. 0.46 and 331.26 square meters.
Okay. That seems to make sense. Okay, and then the next one?
Number 3, it meets item 3 now meets the bylaws. We've eliminated that completely.
Okay.
And number 4 still stays at 17.7 from 20.27.
So from 20.27
I don't think
to 17 point what?
7.
17.7. And
I
that's
don't
all.
think your number for floor space index is correct because 0.45 is permitted at 286. If you're going to 0.46, I don't think it would be 331.
Yeah,
That's the area they've calculated for me.
yeah,
That's my architect
that doesn't
relaying the
look right.
message to me.
That can't be right.
Because 0.54 was 346. You've reduced it by roughly 15 square meters, but that's still further away than the 286.
I didn't do the calculations. My architect did the calculations. So if we could stay at 0.46, I'm fine with that too. Like I'll reduce it, whatever it is.
Neil, do you have any comments to make?
Like
Well, if you're at 0.46, you have to give us the number in square meters, and it can't be 331. 0.26 is what the Secretary Treasurer is saying. If we can resolve this, Madam Secretary Treasurer, I think we're going to have to defer this because we can't. We have a full afternoon of hearings going on, and we sent the applicant away to do the calculations, and the calculations has got to be wrong. So, I mean, what do you suggest, Madam Secretary Treasurer?
if I may, before you guys, can I just recalculate this one more time and just give me another chance? Because I don't know, like these numbers to me, like if I can just get this number from 0.46, if I can get the right square meters, I can make another call.
Okay, so we put you back, we stand the matter down, and we deal with it. Mr. Palmer? What do you?
It would seem to me that if the length of the dwelling is one of the requested variances, wouldn't the depth also need to change as well? Variance number 5.
Going to say that.
Like personally, I think this matter should be deferred to allow the applicant to come back with a clear and concise application where there's no guesses, where staff can maybe have a look at the revised application and make a recommendation, because there's too much confusion here from my point of view. And if there's confusion, then I'm going to be tempted to turn everything down.
No, I agree. I think we've spent enough time. We've given the applicant some indulgence to go away. He's gone away out for lunch break. It's still confusing, so I tend to agree with you, Mr. Palmer.
If that's a motion to defer, I would second it.
Okay, so Mr. Palmer, that's a motion to defer, seconded by Ms. Ruddick. All in favor? Okay, unanimous, the application is deferred. So please, Mr. Chikala, please contact staff when you ready to have this put back on. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to move forward. Okay, the first application of the afternoon is item number 20. Oh, sorry, 21. We already did 20. And it's a matter that is going to have to be, it's 93 Lake Promenade. The applicant or the agent is Michael Flynn. There's the neighbor at 89 registered to speak. However, this matter has to be automatically deferred. Madam Secretary Treasurer, can you please weigh in? The reason for the deferral here is there's an incorrect notice.
I think she lost connection with the
Oh, okay.
WebEx.
So there appears to be, this is an automatic deferral due to an error on the notice. It's been rescheduled to September the 28th. The counselor is also requesting deferral. No point going through everything else. I believe that Mr. Flynn, the agent, isn't going to be even appearing here. Is he not? That's correct. Mr. Flynn is not with us.
That's correct. He's not here.
So we'll have to deal with this in absentia. Committee members, can I have a motion to defer to September the 28th?
Just a quick question. Didn't we deal with this application at the last committee meeting? Is this a new application? It's the same house. I'm just wondering, was it a renovation before and now it's a new detached dwelling?
Through you, Mr. Chair. I believe it was 91 Lake Promenade at the previous hearing.
There was a previous application on this in April 2018, but this is not showing that it's a
It's
deferral.
actually the same house. I'm at 93. Okay, so it was, you think it was 91 Lake Promenade? Okay, because I've got the same house that I looked at like 2 weeks ago. Anyway,
Okay,
Motion
is
to
someone
defer.
prepared to make a motion to defer this to September 28th?
yes, I'm happy to make a motion to defer.
Okay, thank you. Seconded by Mr. Kamara. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. We'll see Mr. Flynn back here on the 28th. Okay, we have two other deferral requests. We might as well deal with them. One is the next one, number 22, 40 Stevenson Road. The speaker is Andy Verheil. And again, this is a matter that I believe is to be a deferral request from the agent. So let's hear from the agent. Mr.
Hello
Verheil?
there, my name's Andy Verhill. Hi, my name's Andy Verhill from AVA Design Studio. I'm the agent for the applicant, and currently we're in discussions with the planning department, and we've requested a deferral so that we can meet all of their needs.
Okay. Thank you.
I also believe the planning department has also requested a deferral on this application.
Yes. Okay, can I get a motion to that effect?
Motion to defer this matter?
Thank you, Ms. Ruddick, thank you. And Mr. Kamara, I think you had your hand up. Second that. All in favor? Okay, the matter is deferred. Thank you, Mr. Verheil. Just get back to staff when you're ready to have it put back on an agenda. Okay, and we might as well, there is one more deferral request, also at the applicant's request. I believe it's number 24, 440 Rathburn. And again, Mr. Verheil, the same agent.
Yes, so this, for the same reasons as 40 Stevenson, we've asked for deferral since we're in discussions with the planning department. They've also requested a deferral for this application, and so are we.
Okay, so same thing. Motion.
Motion to defer this matter?
Thank you, Ms. Ruddick. Seconded by Ms. Alderson. Thank you. All in favor? Matter is deferred. Okay. Okay, so we have those out of the way, so we can now go back to item number 23, 112 Regent Street. It's an application to convert a, hold on. This again is a revised sheet. Perhaps we can get it up on the board, a revised notice sheet in yellow. Looks like there was 10 variances. Number 9, number 10, number 4 have been eliminated. So now 7 variances, and variance 7 and 8 have been revised. So we have the revised plans, a waiver, we have the revisions, we have 2 cover letters, and we have a report from planning. Planning, in the event of an approval, would like it tied to be constructed substantially in accordance with the architectural plans held on file. And the speaker for this application is Eddie Perez, and we also have the neighbor at 110 Regent Street registered to speak. Welcome, Mr. Perez.
Hello, good afternoon, Chairman and committee members. How are you doing? With this application, we've been going back and forth with planning. We've made some changes. We reduced 3 variances, as you stated, and number 7 was from 19% to 17.8, or 61.4 square meters, and number 8, we went from 57% to 52.5, and that's the changes that we made.
Okay.
As per planning's request. We've been going back and forth with them, and we're on board with planning as of this moment.
Thank you, Mr. Perez. Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Perez at this point? And if not, we'll go and hear from the neighbor who's right next door. Okay, so Ana Maria Rodriguez of 110 Regent Street.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, if you could try to speak a little bit louder.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you can just start off by
Okay,
stating your
great.
name and address for the record, please.
Ana Maria Rodriguez, 110 Regent Street.
Okay.
So I'm to the south of the neighbor.
Yep.
And according to the requested variance for number 9, which is the garage, I'm opposing.
Yeah, ma'am, that variance has been eliminated. If you just heard Mr. Perez, he's made a lot of changes. And in the last iteration, variances 9, 10, and 4 have been eliminated. And air variances 7 and 8 have been reduced. So there no longer is a variance that you're talking about of the distance from your the lot lines. The placement of the
Okay,
garage now complies with the bylaw. Other than
Okay,
it's
I see
slightly
that now.
oversized, yeah. So if you can see up on the
Okay,
board, those have
sorry.
been eliminated. Do you have
Okay,
any
I
other
see it now.
concerns?
No, that was my only concern, was the garage.
Okay. Very good then. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Perez, I guess there's nothing to rebut, so let's see if committee members have any follow-up final questions and or if someone's ready to weigh in with a motion.
Okay, thank you.
If there's no questions, I'm ready to roll. I find the application to be minor and meeting the 4 tests, and therefore I'd like to move approval subject to, as revised, subject to it being tied to the architectural plan submitted September 7th, 2021.
Okay. Thank you. Seconder for that motion? Ms. Alderson, thank you. All in favor? Unanimous approval. Thank you, Mr. Perez.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, item number 25, and I think there's also an application in our package, a mislabeled 25 for Rathburn, but you have to scroll to the next one. It's number 25, 240 Prince Edwards Drive South. And we have one speaker, David Igleman, the agent. This is an application for a 2-story rear addition, and there are 2 variances. And all we have on file is just whatever was submitted with the application. We have nothing from area residents or city departments. Welcome, Mr. Eagleman.
Sorry, Mr. Chair. Sorry, just to go back to item 23, I'm not sure if Eddie Perez is still here, but the planning condition did not reflect the most revised set of plans. So the date should be the September 8th, not what is indicated on the planning report.
Okay.
So I just want to raise that so that we know we're dealing with September 8th.
Actually, Ms. Bartos, while you're on it, I noted this one, it was, the condition was substantially in accordance as opposed to construct as illustrated, honing in on the particular plan as opposed to all the plans. That seems to have changed, but a few of them, some of the newer planners are going back with the old precedent, so I assume that's acceptable.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Because construct as illustrated to me
fine.
seems a lot better, and when they, otherwise the plan, the building department would have to review everything for every plan for every variance, as opposed to honing in on whatever they're particularly interested in, but it is.
I know,
what it
but they
is.
didn't say that in
Okay.
this case.
Yeah, that's the way they worded it,
Okay,
this one.
sorry.
They've gone back to the old wording.
Yeah.
Okay, so Mr. Kamarick, I guess that's a friendly amendment to your motion. So that's dealt with. Okay. Okay, so back to item number 25. We have nothing on file on this one. Mr. Eagleman, is there anything you'd like to advise committee before I see if they have any questions for you or if they're ready to make a motion?
Good afternoon, Sir Chair, and fellow committee members. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay. So through you, Mr. Chair, I would just like to, the only thing I would like to mention, if the committee does not need a presentation, is that a building permit has actually been issued by the city for most of the works that are shown on the proposed plans. So the only portion of the proposed works that are shown on the plans that are subject to this application are just the second floor extension, cantilevered extension, and the altered roof structure above the existing bedroom on the second floor, labeled as bedroom number 3. So everything else is already building permit approved.
Okay, thank you.
And yeah, just to add that those two variances are a result of the cantilevered extension and the altered roof structure.
Okay. Does anyone have any additional questions for Mr. Eagleman, or is someone ready to weigh in with a motion?
I'm ready to weigh in if no one has any questions. Doesn't look like there's anything from any city department, any conditions at all. So I'm happy to make a motion to approve the variances as laid out.
Okay, thank you. Seconder for that? Mr. Kamarick? Thanks. All in favor? Okay, you have unanimous approval. Thank you, Mr. Eagleman.
Thank you, committee and chair. Take care.
Okay. Okay, the next application is item number 26, 9 Pucker Ridge Crescent. It's an application to construct a 2-story south side addition, a 2nd-story addition above the existing dwelling, a new covered front porch, and a new rear deck. There are 4 variances, and all we have is an arborist report, no communication from neighbors or other city departments. And the speaker on this application is Marco Razzolini, the agent. There was a neighbor at 17 Pucker Ridge Crescent, but I don't believe they were to contact. They haven't given any details or email or whatever. Are they present on the line?
Yes, they're here.
Okay, good. Okay, so the next door neighbor is present as well. Welcome, Mr. Razzolini.
Good afternoon, Sir Chair. My name is Marco Razzolini. I am the agent for 19 Pucker Ridge.
Okay.
Would you like a presentation?
Well, rather than make a presentation, we have no comments. So why don't we hear what the neighbor has to say? Unless committee members,
Sure.
you want a presentation, looks like there's 4 relatively minor revisions. I guess the second story platform is 8.2, whereas 4 meters is permitted. So I don't know if that's what the neighbor is concerned with. Why don't we listen here from the neighbor first, and sir, you'll have a chance to respond to whatever the concerns are, rather than having to anticipate what, if any, maybe the neighbor's calling to say they're in support. So with your permission, let's hear from the neighbor.
Sure, sounds good.
Okay. Is Irene Janetsko of 17 Puckeridge Crescent on the line?
Yes, I am.
Welcome.
Welcome.
So you're located right next door. With how about letting us know what your concerns are, if any, and the agent for your neighbor will have a chance to respond.
Okay, thank you. Okay, good afternoon, Chairman and committee members. I live at 17 Puckeridge, next door to number 19. Upon receipt of notice and impending changes to rebuilding number 19, I object to structural changes which will reflect on my issues, which I am listing below. Number 1, I am worried about my sunlight over my patio, which will become much less where my kitchen, bathroom, and basement windows overlook the patio. And I purposely built the patio for my enjoyment. I'm also, second issue, the height of the building. Third issue, what will be done with the maple tree in the front, meaning street level? Number 4, car parking, number of vehicles roadside in front, which would result in traffic congestion because this is basically a quiet neighborhood. Also, the noise with the construction and also the hours of the construction work. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Just to let you know, we don't deal
You're
with
welcome.
construction-related issues. If there are issues and
Okay,
with your
okay.
neighbor
I just
should.
thought
No, I'm
I'd
just
put
gonna
it
say
in.
no, but I'm saying you have redress. You can call 311. You can deal with the building department.
Okay,
And your
okay.
neighbor and their
Okay, thank you.
contractor. Yeah, their neighbor and their contractor should be in
Okay.
touch with you to
Okay.
discuss the construction issues. Did your neighbor ever talk to
Okay.
you about this renovation before you just got notice and didn't know anything about it?
That's correct.
So your neighbor never
we
approached
got the
you?
notice.
Okay.
No.
Okay, I just wanted to know if they approached you before they came forward with the application, or if it just received it in the mail.
Meaning, what do you mean by that? Approached us.
Did your
Telling
neighbor
us
come
that
to
they were
talk to you
going
and
to
say?
build?
Did your neighbor come to you and say, Irene, we're going to go ahead with this addition here. I want to show you the plans. Did they do anything
No.
like that? No. Okay.
Absolutely not.
Okay. Thank you. Does anyone have any questions for
welcome.
the neighbor before we go back to the agent for his rebuttal? No. Okay. Mr. Razzolini? You've heard
Yes,
the
so
concerns
speaking
of the neighbor?
specifically toward so speaking specifically about the sun issues and the height issues, we are not seeking a height variance. We are seeking a main wall height variance, but it's pretty minor in relation to what's permitted. Permitted is 7 meters. We are seeking 7.43 meters. I think the roof, we've designed the roof in a way that shouldn't cast a large shadow on the neighboring properties. In comparison with a more traditional roof style. I think that would be the response for the height issue and sunlight issue. In regards to parking, we are proposing the same amount of parking that is on site now is what will be provided. The addition shouldn't result in any more traffic to the neighborhood. And I guess lastly, in regards to the construction issues, as you alluded to, this is not specifically dealt with at committee of adjustment, and we can have a conversation with the contractor about time of day, and we can speak to Irene about this as well.
Okay, panel members, any questions for the agent or the neighbor, or is someone ready for a motion?
I'm ready to make a motion if no one has any questions. I just a point of clarification. What size is this lot? 55 by 120. Do you know what the size of the lot is?
It's 50 by 120.
50 by 120. Okay, so it's a fairly substantial lot with a small house on it right now.
Correct, and we're building directly above the existing.
Right. I find the variances minor in nature. They meet the 4 tests. Happy to move approval. I don't think there are any conditions.
Nope.
Not even urban forestry. So without conditions.
Thank you, Ms. Alderson. We have a seconder for that. Mr. Palmer? All in favor? It's unanimous. You have your approval. Thank you, Mr. Rossellini, and thank you, Irene Janetsko. Okay, our next application is item number 27, 68 Burroughs Avenue. It's to construct a second-story west side platform. There was only one variance. The size of the second-story platform is 9.5 meters squared, whereas 4 meters squared is permitted. We have a letter of opposition from 72. And the speaker is Stephen Camiso, the agent for the applicant. I just want to check one thing. Yeah, it looks like 72 is right now. There's no number 70, so 72 is the direct next door neighbor who wrote the letter. Mr. Camiso?
Through you, Mr. Chair, he's been unmuted, and he was here during the sound check.
So he's not there? Maybe someone can try calling him, or if we have a phone number there?
Hello, Mr. Camiso? Can you hear us? You've been unmuted.
So, anyway. Okay, why don't we stand this one down then? Okay, let's stand that down, I guess, while we're trying to get a hold of them. So the next application is item number 28, 29 Walford Road. It's an application to construct a new detached dwelling with an attached garage, and there are 7 variances. We have an arborist report. Planning would like the committee to refuse variance number 5, and we have opposition from 32 and 31 Walford. Speaker is Ali Malek Zadeh, and then the neighbor from 16, Elliott, is registered to speak as well as 32 and 31 Walford, the 2 people who wrote the letters. So, Mr. Malek Zadeh?
Yes, Mr.
Welcome,
Chair,
sir.
I'm a member of the committee. My name is Ali Malik Zadeh.
Yeah,
and,
I can barely hear you, sir.
Can you hear me?
That's better.
I'm sorry.
Yes. now I can
My
hear
name
you.
is Ali Malik Sadeh, and I am at the 236 Les Mills Road. I'm representing an architect for this application.
Yes, sir.
So there is some changes on the variance as per our discussion with the planning department and then the concern that they have. And on that exercise, we the variance number 1 is reduced to 36.81.
Hold on a second. Hold on, sir. Did you submit revised plans showing these changes you're about to tell us about?
Yes, they are all submitted.
I don't know if we have them, Madam Secretary Treasurer. Do we know anything about revised plans? We don't have the revised yellow sheet like we've seen on many applications here today that have been revised. Do we know anything about revisions?
He may be referring, because he just said 36.81, but that's what's on our notice. So I'm
Okay.
not sure if he revised them ahead of time.
Okay, sir, you see the note, you see the notice on the board?
Yes.
Okay, is that what you currently have, or you're saying there's additional changes from that?
If you just give me a moment to look at them, I'm sorry.
Yeah, if I read the planning report, it says, it outlines the discussions that they've had and what they asked him to reduce. So I think the only thing that's still outstanding is they're just not happy with the flat roof height. But all the other changes appear to be captured in the notice that went out.
Okay. So
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so he
the
made
notice
changes. Hold on,
exactly-
I just want to listen to what staff is saying. You made planning asked you to do certain things, and you made the changes. Because you made them in time, they don't show as recent revisions with yellow highlighting. However, there still is an issue with the remaining variance that they still want that refused, being variance 5.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Are you agreeable to that?
Yes, Mr. Chair, this is correct. We had the time and we revised our plan as per requirement, and the height, the planning department, they want us to keep it as 9 meters or just slightly lower than 9 meters. But given the elevation and then topography of the site and the way that the established grade is calculated, we end up to the 9.03. So we just 3 centimeters higher than what they asked us to do.
Hold on. You said you're at 0.303 meters higher than what they asked you to do?
Yes, 0.003 meters higher than what they asked me to do.
Are you sure? Because when you look at the variance, it says that variance is, the flat roof is either 7.2 or 6.5. Under the new bylaw at 7.2 permitted, under the old bylaw at 6.5. But I don't see anything about 9 meters, them being happy about 9 meters.
I understand, but that was a conversation I had with the planning. There was another application that was approved by this committee in the area, and the limit that they can accept it for the building height was 9 meters in our discussion. So I am referring to the discussion I have with the planner, and then that 0.03 centimeters is based on that conversation, not what bylaw is asking.
Yeah, sir, we don't have before us any discussion or any email of you discussing with planning. So what you're saying is hearsay. You're saying they were happy with 9 meters, but that's not what the report says. The report says that they want the 9.03 and the 9.23, which are pretty close to 9 meters, reduced or refused, which means you'd be at 7.5 under the new bylaw, and or is it 7.5? I closed the page down. So before we get into
I
hearing
understand.
from the neighbors and everything, we got to get your story. At least what's before us, community planning did not agree in variance 5 to 9 meters. They're saying they want it refused, which means 7.2 under the new bylaw, 6.5 under the old bylaw. Madam Secretary, is that your understanding?
Yes.
Okay. Committee
Can I
members?
can I ask the staff to just bring up the plans?
Anyway, yeah, we still have to hear from the neighbors and everything here, but I'm just saying if what you're saying doesn't seem to be, I'm not disbelieving that you had this conversation at some point with the planner, but that's not the report they wrote. They didn't write the point that 9 is acceptable, which would be, you're only, like you said, you're inches above on one side and a foot above on the other, but that's not what they're saying. They're not saying that 9 is okay.
I think that's the way that generally the planning department or planning staff, they put in the report together just for the refusal, but that's a conversation we had. And then based on that conversation, these are the changes that I made.
Okay.
There is another application in the area that is approved by this committee with close to the same height that we proposing, even higher for the slope roof or the flat roof. This is a flat roof building, 2 story above the ground, and with giving to the height that we have for each floor, this is what we came up with, the 9.03 meters. And I think this is very suit proposal for the area as the area is developing true to the contemporary modern houses around. Is exactly falling to the category of the character of the neighborhood, and this is what we're proposing for the house. If they are saying that this is not acceptable and a refusal, this is not what we discuss over the phone with them.
Okay, thank you. I've let you go on for a while in this sort of back and forth
problem.
presentation, but sir, I'll just point out to you that this memo is dated August the 30th, so that's like 15 days ago. Did you receive this on the IOC? Did you see this memo before today?
Yes.
Did you not call them back and say, what are you talking about? You said you would have support 9 meters. You had 15 days to contact them and ask them, what are you doing? If that's the discussion you had.
They are not changing that. They are not changing the report, Mr. Chair.
I see,
I've
but you were aware of
contacted
this
them and I
report.
talked to the planner
15
as
days ago, you had this report. So to come here and say, well, they really meant 9 meters is, you should have called them and said, please change your report to say 9 meters, but that's not what they did. Anyway, so,
Yes, Mr.
okay, so
I
let's hear
had a
from the
chance to
neighbors and you'll
talk
have a
to
chance to
the-
respond, sir. Okay, we'll hear from the neighbors now. First neighbor is the neighbor at 16 Elliott Avenue. And I don't know if there's 2 people.
Yep.
We're going to hear from one of them.
Hi,
Hello.
my name is Laura Strickler. I live at 16 Elliott Avenue, and I'll be speaking.
Okay, so you're directly behind. I see you on the location map.
Correct.
Correct. Okay, go ahead.
All right. So as you mentioned, I am the neighbor that shares a rear property line with 29 Walford. I've lived at this property for 10 years, and I am raising my young family here. So I've anticipated the building of a new house at 29 Walford for several years and understand that larger homes are being built in the area. I understand that minor variances may be requested. However, the scale of this proposed dwelling is beyond what I believe is reasonable. And so I'm here today asking the committee to revisit specifically the height variance request, as well as there's an encroachment to the rear yard setback. And I have 2 main reasons, which is driving why I'm here today. So I'll start with the first is Elliott Avenue is at a lower grade than Walford Road, and that's clearly shown in the architectural plans that are there. So that means because of the slope, the height of the proposed house will be actually more significant than the 2-meter variance being requested. And so from my backyard, that means a very tall house. And so because of the height, because of that encroachment on the side yard, and the fact that the proposed balcony and platform will be above the our fence sight lines. That's clearly reduced privacy for us and it impact my living space. The other piece I wanted to bring up is the proposed height of the new build will further be overwhelming when the backyard foliage is removed. So for many years, 29 Walford has beautiful backyard foliage and it's provided great privacy for many years. However, the backyard has not been maintained in recent years. In fact, I would go as far as saying it's derelict, it's dangerous, and it's a safety concern. In particular, there's a black walnut tree that provides the most coverage back there, and it's become a safety hazard in recent years. The tree has broken branches and done damage. Notably, last year in 2020, an order was issued by the City of Toronto to deal with post-storm damage from that tree. Further complaints are on file with urban forestry, and then the arborist report included in this application rated the tree as fair condition, verifying our recent experience that this is really an aging tree and it's not very healthy. So why am I sharing all this? The new build proposed will be in place much longer than the remaining lifespan of these trees. And with no barriers between the houses, the openness, that the proposed height will be even more overwhelming. So I'll just, in closing, say that I absolutely understand that a new house will be built at 29 Walford, and in fact, I welcome the upgrade to the property. But I'm here today asking the committee for a reasonable solution for a building plan that respects the neighborhood and their surrounding property owners. So thanks very much for your time.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Strickler. I also point out may have not mentioned the urban forestry has requested a condition number 2. In their list of possible conditions on this application. Okay, so does anyone have any questions for Ms. Strickler before you move on to the next speaker? Okay, next speaker is Joan Carbonaro of 32 Walford. So across the street.
Yes, hi. I'm Joan Carbonaro at 32 Walford Road. And can you hear me okay?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. And I've been living here for 25 years. I raised my 3 children here, and I'm in this original bungalow on my own. My front window faces the 29 Walford Road. So I do get the morning sun coming up, which comes into my house. I just have a small bungalow. With the proposed height of the new dwelling, I will be losing quite a bit of sunlight coming into my home. And as well, the style of the house does not fit in with the character of the neighborhood. This is an old neighborhood, and the flat roof rectangular home style does not fit in with the neighborhood at all. So I am opposing the height that they want to build. And I have one other item I wanted to bring up. It's with regards to construction. Walford Road is a very narrow street. If there is a regular size car across the street from my driveway, I have a lot of difficulty backing out of my driveway, and at times I've had to ask neighbors to move their cars in order for me to get the car out of my driveway. So I wanted to know what is going to happen when there are trucks and, during construction on the street.
Okay, ma'am, that last issue is really not within our purview. Not that construction issues are not, important and have impact on neighbors, but it's not. We deal with the built form here and with the planning issues, but there is redress. If they get their approval and they start building, their contractor should come speak to you, and they have to comply with certain rules. And if they don't, you can contact the building department. You can contact 311, but it's not something that we take into consideration. Obviously, there's lots of construction going on in the city. Some cases, there's multiple new builds going on the same small street, and it's an issue, but it's not something that we deal with here. But thank you for your other points on the height. And on the difference on the other neighbor talked about the difference in the grading, but in terms of the impact on you and your bungalow, and on the comment on the typicality of the built form in the neighborhood. So thank you. It was just your last point we can't deal with, and we'll have the applicant in rebuttal will have to answer your questions, or at least attempt to. Does anyone have any questions for Ms. Carbonaro before we go on to the last speaker at 31, who is right next door? No? Okay. So let's hear from Mark, and we did have your letter as well, Ms. Stickler. We had your letter. Now we have also a letter from the next speaker, Marcus Aslani at 31 Walford.
Hello, Mr. Chairman. Can you hear me?
Yes. Loud and
Hi.
clear.
My name is Marcus Aslani, and I am the neighbor to that would be to the north of. We're at 31 Walford, so I would say we're at north of this lot, and I would say we're the most impacted as part of this build permit at this point. I heard that there were originally 7 variances requested, but on the notice, I've actually noticed 8 accounted for. And actually, the height variance was a culmination of 2 variances. One was a former city of Etobicoke zoning code that was requiring a building height of not exceeding 6.5 meters originally. And that was, I think, bylaw 1993-108, MAP D10, section 320-42.1. So I'm not clear on exactly what is the set limit on the height of the building, but as far as I'm concerned, to the point that the builder had pointed out that this is in line with the buildings of this neighborhood, I would significantly disagree. This neighborhood is actually built in an old English style, whereas this is a very modern building, and it's quite a cubic shape. The building is intended for a much larger lot size, and I think all the variances that all the members of the committee have, I'm sure, examined will notice that they all point to a longer building, something that progresses further, closer to the street, a building that will go taller than most norm. In fact, this building is so tall that it's required an elevator between the floors, centrally located in that building, going from the very main floor on the lower level all the way to the 3rd floor on the top. Now it's called basement to 2nd floor, but this is literally a three-story building being built here. This building, just going by the bylaws, is progressing closer to our dwelling. For our family of 4, we have 2 young children that go to the elementary school here, and we're raising them here. We've lived here for the past 9 years. So we've benefited from the sunlight that's coming through our kitchen window, which I have disclosed a picture of. We benefited from a beautiful picturesque view to this street line. The progression of the building closer to the basically the front lot setback, coming closer to the street, actually completely eliminates that view. The height of that window that you're looking at is at 4.5 meters from what I could measure to the ground level. This building is going to be built to 9 meters high. So that gives you a bit of a perspective. The second picture that you're displaying there shows all the windows that we're having there facing that direction, and our sunlight is basically completely blocked for that view that you see there as the building progresses closer. So the building is coming closer to the street, is coming closer to our line, even within the bylaw, but also it's going higher up and it's becoming longer. So it's setting further into the back lot, as Ms. Strickler pointed out earlier, and they're asking for a bigger space for that encroachment to allow to use that space. And that's going to be overseeing not only Ms. Strickler's lot, but also our property line and our yard space as well. We are a small bungalow next to here, as you can see in the image. So it's going to be quite overwhelming to have that next to us. And so as a result, my concerns have been to keep to the existing setback of 9.9 meters to the street. Also, I'm not sure which bylaw applies to the height, but the 9 meters does break both of those bylaws, the old Etobicoke bylaw as well as the City of Toronto bylaw of 7 meters by about 2.5 meters or so, depending on which you pick. I also take exception on the fact that the front yard is being reduced in size, and 2 old trees are being removed from that front space. Now, I understood from the notice that the builder is required to actually replace every tree with 3, and they've requested to replace with only 1 tree per tree removed and to pay the fine for the remainder. These are very old trees being removed, and I feel the green space in our neighborhood is being diminished as a result of granting of such waivers. So I have proposed at least 2 trees to be replaced, at least 2 trees per tree removed to replace those trees. I do understand the need to remove those trees to be able to build something this big. Again, my concern is...
Okay, Mr. Ashlani, would you like to wrap up because you're over 5 minutes? Thank you.
Oh, my apologies.
Okay.
To sum up, we would like the height variances declined. We would like the replacement of the trees to be extended to as close as the city requires it, and also the back encroachment. We're asking for that bylaw also to be dismissed, that variance to be dismissed. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for examining this.
Thank you, Mr. Aslani. Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Aslani? And if not, let's go back.
I actually have
Okay.
I have actually a couple of questions for him. So you're at 31 Walford, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so really it looks to me like an elevated bungalow. It looks like you've got 2 floors there, so it's not technically a bungalow. And you share a driveway with the applicant, is that correct?
That's right.
And are you familiar with 17 and 19 Walford, the 2 modern semis that are being built there?
They're finished, I believe, but yes.
But they're modern in nature. Quite modern,
yes.
actually. Okay.
Yes, I noticed those. Yes.
Yeah, okay. So that's it. That's all.
No, if you're making the point, actually, the owner of that property who sold later came to all of our neighborhood and proposed that we don't oppose that build because he wanted his daughter to live in the area and he wanted to make sure that they can be close together. Right after he got the approval, he actually sold the property to another builder and he moved on.
Yeah.
So I just want to point that out, as well as the fact that that modern build is nestled across 2 taller buildings. So it's a different scenario than ours in this case, I would say.
Okay, Mr.
Yeah,
Kamara?
I have one question. There was reference to a front yard setback variance, and I don't see a front yard setback variance. I just want to clarify that.
That's true. The front yard currently is at 9.93 meters at the setback for the existing property. But this new build will come to 7.5 meters closer to the street. So this is a progression to the front to increase the footprint of the building.
Okay, so
Is there but there's no variance that is required for that. They're doing that as of right.
I'm not clear if it is a variance or not, but I wanted to point that out, that takes effect on our property as well. And that progression to the front actually removes green space for where we live.
Again, is there a green space front yards? Like I noticed the same thing, Mr. Kamara. There was no front yard setback. There is no front yard landscaping. We'll take his word for it that it's coming closer to where it is now, but it's still, as you say, it complies with the bylaw. So that's one thing you can't complain about because it complies. So good thing to clarify. Any other questions, Mr. Kamara? Okay. Any other questions by anyone else for the speaker before we go back?
For that speaker, that was my only question.
Right. Okay. So in that case, let's go back then to Mr. Malek Zadeh to respond to the concerns that have been raised by the neighbors.
Thank you, Mr.
You have 5 minutes.
Chair, and
Thank you.
And thank you, neighbors and all the speakers. I just pointing out a few things, and I really appreciate that the member of the committee, they just picked those notes. And then an item. Yes, we are not asking for the front yard setback variance, as well as the north side. So, and on the side of the 31 Walford, we don't have any variance side yard setback. The building link, if I can ask staff to just bring the plan up, especially the south plan.
Ash, he wants the plan up. Thanks.
So, site plan is coming. As you see, the road is in diagonal with the property for the whole street, and by the way that we showing the setback, we are using the step back footprint in order to accommodate this angle to the property. So the property on the north side, 31 Walford, is already more closer to the front property line than us. So and because of that angle and the way that the measurement is calculated for the building length, I'm just trying to say on the north side, we are not actually exceeding the building length. As it says, we are in 16.26 meters in a length, which is less than a requirement, maximum requirement. Only on the south part of the property, the last step is exceeding, but in an overall measurement. So it's a little bit complicated measurement showing that building length of 17.46, which is just 46 centimeters over the asking, but that's the overall measurement. From each corner, from the top to the bottom, we are actually on the neighbor side, we are not exceeding from the building length. This is the way that we designed to accommodate the angle of the street. Side yard setback, we are just asking for from the south part. We talked to the neighbor on the south, number 25, and they verbally didn't have any objection on our application. North part, we didn't have any encroachment or any variance. Regarding to our neighbor to the back, and then they were talking about the encroachment to the backyard. The building actually is not encroaching. It's just the platform deck of the rear deck is encroaching by 0.8 meter, which in our calculation is showing there is no encroachment. But the planning, we have a landing at the back of the deck, as you see on the side plan. That landing is actually encroaching, but by the calculation.
Okay, I'm sorry, Mr. Malek Zadeh, you have a minute and a half left. I suggest you start talking about the flat roof height, why the committee should give you 9 meters when it's 7.5 and 7.2.
Okay.
You're avoiding that issue. That's the main issue. So you have a minute and a half left. So I suggest you talk about that.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The building height for the slope roof is a 10 meters allowance. And then there are property, as one of the member mentioned, 1719. They ask for the 0.3 meter over the 10 meters high. Our building asking for 9 meters. The way that the bylaw set up, they want to see more of the slope roof. But if I go with a slope roof, my building height allowance is at 10 meters. The main wall height in that scenario is 7.5 meters. So that 7.5 meters even higher than 7.2 meters of the flat roof. So the zoning bylaw is not completely set up for the flat roof requirement. And that's why it still is on the appeal. And but we are all dealing with that, and then dealing with the two bylaw on this scenario and on this item. The 9 meters that we are proposing is higher than that for the slope roof, was approved by this committee. I'm just again repeating myself on that. And then close to this property, and then on the same road happen for the narrower property. Ours is a 40-foot lot, and then what we're proposing is very in line with the character, with the size of the building, and then with the appearance of the building. I understand that some of the neighbors, they have some personal opinion that they don't like the modern home, but this is the way that the Toronto is going. Is a young professional moving to this area. My client, the owner of the house, they are young professional, and that's what they wish to have for their property on this location. And we try to accommodate with the planning requirement that we had verbally discussed. This is a discussion I have with all the planners on each application, which always verbally, and then we trying to accommodate them on their requirement. And then we did on this revised drawing that we did, and then we are very close to what they were asking.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Just let you go over 6 minutes, but you had a lot of people to speaking, at least 3. It looks like we have complaint from, in this case, from someone in front, someone behind, someone on one side. So there's, it's not like it's someone 3 blocks away complaining. Committee members, any follow-up questions for any of the speakers, in particular, the agent, or is someone ready to weigh in with a motion? We'll take it into committee.
I have a question for the applicant. Mr. Chair.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, you are asking for 0.72 FSI, is that correct? And 0.5 is permitted, but I don't see anywhere in your application a justification for that increase. Like, you're not showing us any examples of where that, if that's common for that area, or, other developments that have built to that level.
It's regarding to the for the GFA or FSI. For the coverage. I know that as I mentioned, there was approval for 37% in the area.
No, I'm talking about variance number 2.
For the FSI, also there is approval for more than 72% in the area. But
you haven't given us examples of it.
I can.
Too late now.
I can answer you if you just give me.
It's too late now. I mean, that's the point I'm making, is if you're asking for an increase in FSI, you should come to the committee with some examples of why.
In my experience with the committee, they don't like us to just refer and then use the precedent of the of approval on the area. So I didn't come up with the exact address. I didn't even mention the number 17 and 19 in my review, but one of the member, they are mention it, and then I'm using that number as well. So that was in my experience, but I have the number. I have to just look at to my note and then give you which address you approve more than 72%. Even when I was talking to the planner, they didn't have any issue with our coverage and an FSI, because they knew that there was higher than that is approved in the area. We didn't even.
That's fine. Thank you.
Okay, any questions for the?
Yes, I believe that community planning only had an issue with the height. So they want variance number 5 refused. Is that correct?
That's correct. That's why I was trying to caution or give him the hint during his presentation that he better deal with the height issue, because that seems to be the major issue here, raised by the neighbor and the rear, and the issue over the flat roof. You're right, people may not like the flat roof, and people are entitled to build flat roofs, but they have to sort of comply with the flat roof height guideline, or at least get a little bit, try to get closer to it as they can. not to say that 10 meters is allowed for a slope roof, so why don't you give me 9, a little over 9 with a flat roof? So that seemed to be the biggest hurdle he had to meet.
I think that speaks
Any
to
other
the character of
questions?
the building.
Sorry, any
Sorry.
other questions?
Yeah, it's okay. No, yeah.
No one else has any other questions? If not, can someone ready to make a motion?
I don't have any, I just wanted to say, I don't have any trouble with the architect. I know that they're very good. I understand they've won a number of awards, so. Anyway, it's not relevant, but I just thought I'd throw it in there.
I think what we're struggling with here is a perception of massing, and I think that's why the bylaw differentiates between flat roof height and slope roof height. And since there's been no attempt to adjust to that flat roof height, I'm inclined to either go with planning and refuse that variance or refuse it all outright.
Yeah, so I guess the issue is whether to make a motion to refuse the entire application or just that variance and see if he can work with that or not, I guess. That was planning's recommendation, so.
Yeah, because I think, go ahead.
No, I'm happy to make a motion to refuse that variance in keeping with what community planning has requested us to do without refusing the entire application.
Okay.
What does that imply? I'm not really sure.
I'm prepared to second that, and I think the applicant can sort out the consequences.
Okay, so motion would be then, Laura, to just refuse variance number 5. There is actually, there is a urban forestry condition, would still be in effect, or is that your motion? Because I think Sophia is prepared to second your motion once you make it.
Yeah, sorry, with the condition, urban forestry condition number 2.
And that's to refuse variance 5, grant the remainder of the application.
5.
Okay, seconded by Ms. Roddick. All in favor? Okay, it's unanimous. The application is, variance number 5 is refused, the balance is approved. Thank you. Thank you, neighbors, and thank you, Mr. Malak-Zadeh.
Thank you.
Okay, and we'll now move on to the next application, which is item number 29, 334 Rathburn Road. It's an application to construct a second-story addition above the existing dwelling, a 2-story west side addition, a new front porch, and a new rear deck. We do have a revised yellow notice sheet here.
Sorry, through you, Mr. Chair. Would you like to go back to item 27? I have the applicant on the line.
Oh, okay, we might as well deal with that. Okay, item 27.
Now, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, great.
Okay, that's Stephen.
Okay,
You want
I
to just
guess-
state your name for the record, please? So we're now on 68 Burroughs. This
Sure,
was just, we just have the one variance, the second-story west side platform, and the only variance is the size of the platform, 9.5, where 4 meters is permitted, and we have, I don't believe, anything on file on this.
That's right.
Hold
My
on,
name is
hold on,
Stephen
hold on.
Comisa. I'm with, go ahead.
Hold on. This 27, we do have an objection letter from 72, Burroughs,
That's right.
next door.
hmm
Okay, but they are not present. So please, can you just, now that we have you on the line, can you just walk through why this should be approved? Does it fit in the little corner? It's off a bedroom. It's not being entitled for big parties. What can you tell us about this?
Well, it's we believe it's a modest second floor a deck. It's off the master bedroom. It's intended for a couple of chairs, a table, and basically a place for the owner to have a coffee in the morning, that kind of thing. we included a 6-foot-high privacy barrier at the side, and we respected the side yard lot line, setback line, even though the ground floor patio goes a little bit further into the side yard. I believe the privacy is increased for both parties having the deck there. Right now, from the bedroom window, you can see straight into the backyard, whereas the new deck will obscure part of that. So we feel that the proposal respects the privacy issues and addresses the issues that the neighbor brought up in their letter. And we designed it without any encroachment into the side yard. It's relatively modest, and we believe it meets the Planning Act.
Okay.
We also included. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, in terms of the screen to protect these 5-foot privacy screen, opaque screen, is that you would have no problem with that being a condition? Because I don't see it that it would be a requirement, but you're saying you're going to do it, and that would be on the east elevation or the west elevation?
Right, it's right against the side lot line, so it's you can see it in the, just a second here.
I'm just saying if the committee members would make that an opinion, they have to know if it's the east or the west. So it's your east and her west, or her west and your east?
Just a second. I'm just getting to that page.
I think it's the north elevation.
I got it as north, written on my drawing. We have no problem with that. Our client specifically asked us for a privacy screen anyway, so it's not an issue.
Okay. Very good. Okay, so we have the one variance, we have the neighbor objection, we have the offer of a privacy screen as being a condition of approval. Is there any further questions for Mr. Camiso, or is someone ready for a motion?
What's the height of the privacy screen?
It's 6 feet.
I think it's usually 1.5 meters. Madam Secretary Treasurer, isn't that usually how it's expressed?
It's typically been the standard, yes, 1.5.
Okay. Someone prepared to make a motion?
I'll do a motion to approve with the condition that the privacy screen as described be added as a condition.
Okay, thank you. Seconder for that motion? Ms. Reddick, thank you. All in favor? Okay, unanimous approval. Thank you, Mr. Camiso.
Thank you. Take care.
Okay, so moving back to Rathburn, item number 29. Again, we have the revised sheet showing revisions to variances 1, 2, and 3, and 7, elimination of 8, revision of 9 and 11. So we've got a lot of variances. We have revised, obviously, zoning notices and plans showing this. We have a covering letter, supporting material, comment from transportation, 2 letters of opposition from 336 and 338. Okay, and the speaker is the applicant, or the applicant, either Mr. Sanchez or Ms. Gonzalez. And then we have the neighbors registered to speak from 358 and 336. 336 is one of the letters we have. So first speaker is either one of the 2 owners. I don't know who's speaking.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, my name is Carlos Sanchez. I will be the speaker.
Okay, welcome.
Can I start?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. My name is Carlos Sanchez. I am the owner of 334 Rathburn Road. This is an application to construct a 2nd floor addition over the existing 1-floor dwelling, 1-car detached garage to replace the existing 1-story carport, and 58 square meters 2-story west side addition. I have submitted as part of this presentation several related pictures in order to provide a better idea. Specifically 332 Radburn Road, which is a brand new house adjacent to the property at the east side. If it is possible, we can see the pictures. There are only 4 pictures. East on west side, the property and the future, the 3D preliminary 3D model. I'm submitting as well a list of properties that have gotten approved for the same variances resulting from our proposed plans, which I will make a reference through the presentation. In our proposal, the existing east, back, and front setbacks are being maintained as originally built. Variance number 1 pertains to FSI. The proposed FSI is 0.57. This is an obvious result from a second-story addition. This addition will result in a decent 2-story family size of approximately 294 square meters, which in our opinion is a regular modest size for newly constructed dwellings by today's standards. The variance chart provided shows several similar or higher recent approvals in the neighborhood. We are not creating adverse impact or will not be different at all from what already exists on Radburn Road Street. The variance number 2 pertains to the front yard setback, which is due to the original house construction. Actually, if we look at the survey provided, several houses on that block were constructed with the same 12.27 meters or even shorter for the front yard setback. We are not touching neither modifying the front setback. Therefore, we are unable to eliminate or improve this variance. As an example, I can mention that 323 Radburn Road across the street was approved with 7.32 meters from the 10.04 meters permitted, which is substantially larger than we are proposing. Other examples can be seen in the variance chart. The variance number 3 pertains to the west side setback. This variance has been improved since the original proposal was submitted. Based on planning recommendation, we increased it up to 0.4 meters. In order to maintain the 50% of existing walls requirement for additions, we are keeping part of the east side wall, which is basically pushing the east side to the east side the proposed garage. We did our best to maximize this setback in order to comply with this requirement on one hand, and in the other hand, to accommodate the need of a single car garage. Currently, there is a carport there where the garage will be built, and no further inconveniences to neighbors or is foreseen neither expected. As it can be seen in one of the pictures, there is a 1.2 meters hallway plus the west setback of 0.04 meters between my property and the west side property, which is 336 Radburn Road. It's important to note that only garage length is causing this variance, as the rear addition length, including the second floor, does comply with the 0.9 meter setback by law. The variance number 4 is related to the second story front balcony. The proposed balcony will be only accessible from the bedroom and will not be a main point of congregation. Furthermore, the proposed balcony will provide more eyes on the front street, which is not intrusive in abutting properties and is not creating any adverse privacy concerns to owners surrounding the property. The City of Toronto Planning Department has recommended to reduce size, which we did, and the resultant proposal complies with their recommendation. Actions taken, however, did not completely eliminate this variance, however, contribute to reduce the deviation and make it as minor, in our opinion, of course. Variance 5 pertains to balcony encroachment and is triggered by variance 2, which has been already explained. I'd like to remark that this variance was discussed with planning as well and reduced on the recommendation to a decent minimum size to be able to maintain a proper roof on top of porch due to architectural reasons, but mainly to deal with weather conditions like snow and rain. Variance 6 pertains to maximum drive width. There is a recommendation letter from transportation that we will comply with when submitting drawings, and that is to align the driveway to the maximum garage width and the rest to be considered as a wallway. Variance 7 is related to exterior wall height. The proposed ceiling height for the main and second floor is 10 feet each. which we consider is common and standard for redeveloped
Mr.
dwellings.
Sanchez, can you please try to wrap up? You 5.5 minutes. So please try to wrap up.
Yes, sure, I'm about to finish. I would also like to note that the proposed dwelling does not have variance for overall building height, which somehow demonstrate that the proposed and resulting size have a character for neighborhood and existing planning context. Some examples are shown in the table. Variance 8 pertains to minimum required parking space, is the same as variance 6, and we will comply with the letter from transportation. Variance 9 is a specific and older Etobicoke bylaw resulting from the main wall height already explained in variance 7. With regards with the proposal itself and how it relates to the neighborhood, we believe that it entirely fits with the area, which is predominantly one-story dwelling that is mixing and blending little by little with redeveloped and new homes. We are certainly sure that we are adding positive addition to the neighborhood, and at the same time, we consider this proposal is fully respecting the character of the neighborhood. I'll be happy to address any question by the committee.
Thank you, Mr. Sanchez. Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Sanchez before we hear from the neighbors?
I have one question, and I may have just missed this in the presentation, but variance number 5 with the 0 setback on the eaves, does that pertain to the garage portion only?
That's true. That is correct.
Okay. And you can't improve on that because it's an existing condition?
Is that right? Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay, so we have two speakers. The first one from 358, Rathburn, Jijesh Devan.
Through you, Mr. Chair, he won't be joining us any longer.
He was pretty further afield anyway. The next neighbor is right next door, and one of the two neighbors who wrote in with letters, the neighbor Chumang at 336 Rathburn. Welcome.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Derek Chumang. I'll be speaking on behalf of my mother, Grace Chumang, and she lives at 336 Rathburn, the immediate neighbor just west of 334.
Yes, and we have your letter
my
as well.
mother.
Yeah, we have the letter as well. Right?
Okay, great. Yeah, my brother and my mother is also present in this meeting. My mother's been living there for probably 30 years, and she plans to continue living there as long as she can. She has an outdoor patio, vegetable garden, which is located right next to 334 Rathburn. And what she opposes is item 3, to reduce side yard setback, the 0.4 meters versus the bylaw 0.9 meters. And the latest plans actually show that going 2 stories above the garage, and it's not just the garage. So it's not that 0.4 meter setback is the footprint of the garage, but it goes up 2 stories. The other item is item 5, to reduce roof eave setback 0 meters. I mean, if you have your building 0.4 meter setback with a soffit and an eaves, you don't need it that close. And our problem is, in any future maintenance, they're going to have to straddle their ladder onto our property to maintain their eaves. The third item is the item number 6, to increase soffit height. Now that goes from 6, currently they're proposing 7.5 meter versus the bylaw 6.5 meter. That's an additional 1 meter higher than the bylaw. Now all of these items contribute to a huge building mass that will create, that's very close to the property, which is evident in the drawings A7 and A9. And this isn't typical with Rathburn Road. There's a lot of split houses where the front portion is 1 story and the rear portion is 2 stories. And this increased mass, as a result, it'll create extensive shadows to my mother's patio and her house. It'll reduce or eliminate views from her patio and the windows, the east-facing windows, and potentially the proximity and the size of this west elevation addition will create more snow accumulation during the winter. So these proposed variants may appear minor, but we believe the negative impact to my mother's enjoyment of her property is enormous. So for these reasons, we oppose those three items that we've noted. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chumang. Anyone have any questions for the speaker before we go back to the owner for his rebuttal? Okay. Mr. Sanchez, can you please respond to the concerns of the neighbors and the issues they raised?
Yes, sure. Yes, as I mentioned, currently there is a carport, and where the garage will be built, so there won't be any issues other than what we have right now, or that we have been having for the last 5-10 years that I have lived there, right? So I don't see the concern there in terms of the height of the structure. Basically, the new developments are being built under this height, and the light of the sunshine will not be obstructed, right? Besides that, only half of the length of my house will be built with so close to your property. The rest, the other half, will be at complying with the bylaw. So I don't see why you will be worried about that. And this as I mentioned, the garage wall and the close proximity to your property line is due to the existing wall on the house, right? Otherwise, I will not be doing that. And in terms of the roof eave, yeah, well, I don't know if you have the updated zoning, but we move the wall to 0.4 meters. So the roof eaves will comply with the bylaw.
Sorry, am I understanding that variance 5 of the 0 is not required now?
It's not 0. It was a mistake from the zoning reviewer after we submitted plans, revised plans.
So variance 5 should not be 0?
It's not 0 because we are at 0.4. Actually, it disappeared. The variant 5 disappeared.
Well, it's not disappeared from the documents that are before us.
Yes, sir.
Because you didn't got the latest.
Are you telling us that we can eliminate variance number 5, the roof eaves located 0 meters from the west lot, whereas 0.3 is required? If you look up on the screen, it's
yes,
still there.
you should have.
Yeah, but your zoning review still shows it as a variance, your revised one.
What's the date you have for the zoning review? Because the latest was issued on September the 7th.
Well, did you give it to us though?
Yes, I sent it.
It could be in the revised materials, actually.
No, not for this item.
No, it's not. Okay, because for some reason I have a note that it's 0.04, but I couldn't substantiate that.
Yeah, it's on the September 7 revision. Maybe you have the August 24 revision.
Well, that's what was given to us.
Okay, but then are we ready to strike out variance 5 then? Are you okay with that?
Yes, I am. It's been
What other variances
deleted.
change? Is that the only one difference between the two? Do we have the revised plans that match the September 7th zoning review? Like, why are there so many revisions that the committee doesn't have?
It was only one revision, basically. I did not resubmit plans after the August 24th because it was just a a mistake the zoning review did on the notice. So the architect just talked to him, and I told him that there was a mistake on that variance, and he just updated and resubmit on September the 7th with the correction done. Because that zero value pertained to the original setback that we proposed, it was 0.2 meters. And then planning
But your
asked
floor
us.
space index number is also different. On the revised zoning review, it shows us 294.92.
That is the right number. He made a mistake there as well.
Okay, but you just said it was only the one mistake. Now there's more.
Yeah, but I mean, the 0.57 is there. He just miscalculated the number of square meters.
Okay, so then you have to go through the variances one by one and tell us what the correct numbers are.
But those are the only two mistakes he made. I am aware of.
First, you said it was just one. Now it's another one. So how do we know that something else isn't going to be missed? And then when you get a decision 3 months down the road, you're going to come and say, oh, there was another mistake. I'm not fixing anything afterwards. You're taking responsibility for that today.
Yeah, that's okay. We can go one by one if it is.
I want to go one by one, and that way you're on the record of telling us what is the correct list of variances.
Okay, so 57. I am looking at both the report or the notice from August 24th and September 7th. Okay, so I can see that 0.57 times the area of the lot is 294. It's 294 in August 24. In both is 294.
94 point what?
Yeah, 294.92 square meters, right?
Okay, variance number 2.
Variance number 2 is the same 292 meters for front yard setback and proposed 227.
1227.
1227.
Okay,
Yeah,
let's just deal with the ones, you know, we have 40 applications. We're going to spend a half an hour going through variance by variance on 11 variances. Then we should be deferring. We can't do this on every application. We just can't.
I know,
So
that's
let's
why
go
I'm saying
through
this
variance
is
one. Variance 1, it shouldn't say 304.4, and these things should be checked before it comes here. Variance
I checked them. Yeah.
Variance 3 is
we
we don't have to talk about variance 2. Variance 3 is at 0.4 as shown highlighted on the screen.
The proposed west side yard back 0.4. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's the plan are showing. Those are the revised plans.
Hey, move on.
So that's correct. The permitted area of the plan.
Okay, the ones that aren't highlighted, let's not deal with them. So let's go over again to, what is it, variance 7 now?
No, wait. Variance 5 is being eliminated.
Right, that was the question. Yeah, so we didn't got an answer. He said it's 0.04. Is it 0.04 or is it 0?
If it's 0.04, he does, but if it's 0.04, he doesn't need a variance.
That's true.
So are you deleting variance number 5?
Yes.
So you need the variance or you don't need the variance? Or you need it at 0.04 and not at 0?
No, if it's 0.04, no variance is needed because the minimum is 0.03, so he's eliminating the variance.
Okay.
Yeah, that was eliminated when moving. Yeah.
Sorry, can I clarification? I thought the zoning is 0.3, which is not 0.03.
Yeah, exactly. So you still need it. If it's 0.04.
So 0.04 would still be a variance.
Yes.
Thank you.
That's what
I was thinking 0.4.
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. He needs a variance, but it's not at 0, it's 0.04, whereas 0.3 is required. So it's still a variance, it's just not a 0 lot line. So again,
Carlos, you have to
let's
speak
keep
up
going
and
on
tell us what it is.
it's according to the plans, it's point 4, right? It's 400
But you are
millimeters.
deleting variance number 5.
Yes. That's why variant number 5 was deleted.
Okay, are there any other changes?
No.
All right, I'm losing my patience and
Yes,
I'm ready to make a recommendation if you don't move on.
I know. What I'm saying is that we should follow the latest. I mean, that's what we have. We should follow the latest zoning notice.
We're
that
trying
was
to, but you
revised.
have errors in it, sir. This is why people should get agents.
That's the September 7th.
You know, we're spending 45 minutes on this. We have 40 applications to go through.
What would be the issue here? Sorry.
Come on, let's get this. Are we done or we're not done? Is someone ready to make a motion? Do we know what we're making a motion on? We revised the meter squared in variance 1. We've eliminated variance 5. Variance 3 has been, what's happening with variance 3? And is that it? And everything else is as shown. Okay, so it says it is on the screen. It's not as it shows on my, yeah, that's the point 4. Okay, so are we ready for a motion?
It's 0.4.
Yeah.
Okay. Not 0.4. It's 0.4.
And variance 5 again for the 5th time, that's 0.04.
No, he deleted it.
Or you're deleting that.
It's deleted. It's
Okay.
deleted, yeah.
Okay, so please someone make a motion.
I don't know if I feel comfortable making a motion or even seconding it or going along with it because I'm not sure that there aren't errors on this page. Like this is being done very hastily and you know, I think under duress. So, you know, I don't know what to do. I really don't. But
Okay,
I don't think I'll be
let's hear from someone else
supporting the
know what they want to do, because I'm
Yep.
about to take a break. Because we're sitting here, it's 45 minutes. Come on, guys, we got to make a motion.
Okay. There's also transportation conditions.
Yes, he said
I
he's
don't think
okay
we
with the
talked about.
5 conditions. He said also there's urban forestry number 1.
All right, so I will take a stab at this then.
Thank you.
I think I can, I'll move approval as amended, but the amendments include, so the first variance 1 is 0.57 and then the new square meterage, not the 304. And variance 5 is eliminated. And I believe there are no other changes. However, there would be a forestry condition 1 and it would be 5 transportation conditions.
Thank you, Stan. Okay, do we have a seconder for that motion? Mr. Palmer, thank you.
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Sorry. I'm sorry because of the confusion. I want to also tie it to the site plan to make it clear that the variance is only for the garage portion and not the rest of the house.
Okay, good idea. Again, that might
Sorry.
affect the effort. So, okay, so we have that revision. We have the conditions, the 5 transportation. We have the urban forestry 1. We have the elimination of variance other than what he's already eliminated. Variance now also variance 5 is eliminated. Variance 1 is changed. Just the meter squared is still at 0.57. We have it moved by Mr. Kumerick, seconded by Mr. Palmer. All in favor?
Yes.
Unanimous? Okay. You have your approval, sir. You owe this committee a
Thank you very much, and sorry for
having the
this
patience to
time.
go through this. So enjoy your you have your appeal period, and then enjoy your renovation. Okay. So and thank you for
Are we going to take a mental break now?
yeah, and thank you for
you,
the
and
neighbors.
enjoy
We might
your
as well
break.
take a break now. Okay. We'll come back and do item 30 and onward. So let's take a 10-minute break. Thank you, everyone, for your
10 minutes?
patience.
Hi,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Hi, everyone on the line. Just quickly, I'm going to take this opportunity to switch the YouTube stream so we don't run out of time after the break. So if you are watching live on this most current YouTube stream, I'm going to end it and start a new one that'll be made available on the same page. Thank you.